Well, hello and welcome to Paula's Marathon Run Club with me, Paula Radcliffe.
And me, Christopher Thompson.
And this is your guide to how to run your best marathon, building up that 16-week series to the London Marathon. And we are now in week 12. It is getting tough. It is getting hard. You are in the middle of that hard work. And please don't forget to give us a follow on Apple and on Spotify to help you get through that. But more importantly, this week, we have got an extremely special guest to help motivate you through those hard times. So if you're struggling to get out the door, this one is really going to pick you up and give you that motivation. We are joined by Adele Roberts, broadcaster, DJ, Strictly star, Big Brother star, an absolute force when it comes to running and a huge, huge motivation. Her journey is nothing short of extraordinary. After overcoming bowel cancer, she set a Guinness World Record as the fastest woman to complete the London Marathon with a stoma. Not content with that, she is now on a mission to smash the fastest overall time for the 6 marathon majors within a year, travelling around the world. It is the one and only Adele Roberts. Adele, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much,
guys.
So first of all, how are you feeling after Tokyo? We did meet out there. We both kind of struggled around it in our own ways. I know you were struggling with the jet lag beforehand. How has the recovery gone since then?
I'll be honest with you, Paula, really hard. My friend Sophie said, watch out for Tokyo. You're going to get hit by jet lag. And because I used to do early breakfast on Radio 1, I thought, oh, I'll be okay with this. But it really has been tough, really taking it out of me. And I think I'm only just back to normal today, I hope.
Okay. Is that from a run today or is that?
Yeah, I got a little trundle later on. But yeah, I think it just sort of like took so much out of me because of my stoma. I didn't realise how much flights would affect me having a stoma. So yeah, it's been a learning curve, a very steep learning curve, this 6 majors.
What have you got up to since Tokyo in terms of length of run now? Because what do we now post? It's about, is it 2 weeks to 2.5?
Yeah, just over 2 weeks. And that's a really great question because I found it very hard to navigate between the marathons.
Yeah.
So for the first 3, because I'm doing them sort of like one after the other, I had to do 3 marathons in 5 weeks. And with this one, as you say, I've only just got back from Tokyo, getting back onto this timeline. So I've kind of done a recovery, sort of like a recovery race plan. And then now I'm starting to train for Boston and London, but try and train with the thought that I'll be doing 2 in 1 week, which is just stupid.
Yeah. I mean, it's not stupid, is it? It's hugely brave, and I think that's for sure probably is going to be the toughest of the 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
With just it's not even a week, is it? 6 days.
No,
because it's on Patriots Day, so it'll be on Monday the 21st. I'm worrying about how I'm going to get back, get my stuff, and get there to commentate on the race, and you're going to run around it.
Well, hopefully, Paula, you'll see me finishing at some point, I hope.
Oh, we definitely will see you finish. We know we will. And we'll see you smash so that one will be the world record, hopefully, there that you're going to get. But you will complete the 6 before that in Boston, right? So you're going to have a double celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love London to be sort of like almost like my victory party or my sort of like celebration. I hope I can run it okay, but if not, I'll just take my time and just get round the course.
How have you approached the fact that you're doing so many marathons? Because obviously for most people, they do 1 and then move on to, a bigger block, like say 12, 16 weeks. But you're doing so many. How have you structured your training around that? Have you almost used the races as part of training, or have you tried to, because to the point you've been so consistent with your times, you've been within 4 minutes of each marathon, 3 hours 20 to 3 hours 24.
We haven't been stalking you.
Yeah.
We were massively impressed with you in Tokyo.
Incredible.
She was so metronomic.
Yeah, I think I learned that from Paula actually. So way back with my first ever marathon, when I was totally clueless and I had no idea what to expect, I was lucky enough to meet Paula and interview her for my show on Radio 1. And I always remember her saying that it was even hard for her. And that was a massive revelation because I didn't realise that elite athletes even find marathons hard. I don't think there's ever an easy marathon. And that helped me just calm down and realise that whether you are the last person across the line or the first person, it's hard. It might be in different ways, but it's going to be hard. And so I'm patient with myself and I allow myself to just take my time. And finishing is the biggest goal. And then time comes after that.
In Tokyo, did you, I forget, because you did tell me, Paula, did you passed each other, didn't you? Or was there something happening there?
There were out and back sections where runners would be going in one direction, similar to around, 20 miles, is it 21 miles coming back in the marathon, and just after Tower Bridge going out, where there's the two directions of runners, but they were closer in in Tokyo. So they were maybe only 3, 4, 5K between it, was it?
Yeah, and it is hard for like the slower people because you think you're doing really well, and then you see people like Paula whipping past you, like
you saw the Japanese like racing full on. I'm like, oh my god! I was kind of trying to watch the women's elite race going past the other.
So I was kind of like not even halfway through the marathon, and then I see Paula going past the 28K mark, and she was flying. She looked magnificent. I'd never seen her run in real life before.
Later.
Well, you might not have felt like that, but yeah, you look brilliant and you look so strong. And what happened was my girlfriend had texted me and she said, "You're about to pass Paula, look out for her." So yeah, I managed to see her and it felt really special.
Did you see Harry Styles? That's what we're really keen to know, because he was very close to what you ran.
Yes, I first met Harry Styles outside the toilets. So there was quite a long queue at our corral for the toilets. And I remember seeing him and I remember thinking, that lad's going to regret that top, because he had this big top on and he had his number on top of it. So I knew he couldn't take it off. And he had like a headband on and I didn't know who he was. But I remember thinking he's going to be really hot because I knew it was going to be a hot day. But it was very cold at the start. And then all the way through the marathon, I kept seeing him. But what I like to spot people like Harry, people that I can remember, because I always have to go to the toilet. So my marathon times always include toilet stops. And I use people to go to the toilet, but then see if you can sort of like catch them up again. So he was also like my pacer in a way. And then I overtook him right at the end because I was showing off to my girlfriend. So I was trying to pretend that I was like really strong. And I actually overtook him right at the end and beat him by like a couple of seconds as well.
Did he know it was you? Did you know?
No, I don't think he did. No, not at all.
Did he say, "Oh, have you been listening to the Tomo and Paula podcast?" Did he mention that?
He did say that. Yeah. He said, "Make sure you listen out for Chrissy's my favourite." Yeah.
Now we know that's not true.
To Adele, the biggest thing that hit me was what he wore, because I don't know about you, Adele, but I really struggled towards the end because I couldn't get enough liquid in me. I couldn't drink out of the cups. There was so little in the cups.
Yes.
And then I heard that further back down, there were no cups left. So people were actually having to cup with their hands to be able to try and get some liquid. And it was really humid and warm by the end.
Absolutely, yeah. It was so hot, like Paula said. And at the water stations, by the time I'd got to them, it was a bit more sort of like you had to be careful. You really had to indicate to say, "I'm going in."
Yeah.
And then, it was a bit tricky.
So do you carry your own, or do you just rely on the course?
Yeah, I rely on the course. And again, that allows me to just take my time, be steady. And going back to kind of when I first met you, I remember you saying that one of the tricks that you would do is count to 100 in your head. And then you'd know you're about a mile. You'd gone a mile. And then I tried that and I didn't go a mile.
No,
I was like,
three times to 100.
Was it 3? Okay, fine.
That's where you're going wrong.
So I thought, well, isn't that a great way of looking at it? So because I'm a DJ and essentially I count time, I thought, well, I know kind of roughly how long songs are and I know what I kind of want my pace to be. So I count songs. So I know how many songs I need to listen to and then it's about a mile.
Oh, perfect. See, that's real. Everybody has their own coping technique that they go to, don't they?
Yeah.
And I think, my counting, I was absolutely counting from 25K all the way to the end, I think.
Oh, wow.
Because it got tough. It got really tough. But I think a lot of that was drinking. So I'm kind of trying to rethink how I managed to get better at drinking, because I was spoilt for a long time with elite drinks. So you take your own bottle and then it's really easy to drink out of an elite drinks bottle, and to drink out of those paper cups with virtually nothing in the bottom of them was really hard. And then I was thinking on a run today, I don't know why I've never thought of this before, Tomo, what if I run with a straw?
Oh, yeah. And you can get those like kind of like, I don't know what you call it, aluminium straws.
I mean, if I run with a straw and just stuck it down a wristband or something and just stick it in the cup, it's not going to go all over my face, is it?
Yeah, because you have to pinch the cups, don't you? Because otherwise it goes all over.
Oh, yeah. It still goes all over you even when you pinch it.
In the spirit of, because this episode is kind of going out within the hardest block we mentioned of training, specifically for London Marathon, so people might be listening to this for different marathons, but what does the hardest week of marathon training look like for you? What's your kind of biggest week you will do? I know you're doing multiple marathons, but what would a typical big peak week of training look like for you across 7-day period or a 10-day period?
Well, with this 6-star challenge, it's the first time I've trained with a bit more guidance. I really didn't have a clue before I started this. So even with the race that I managed to set the Guinness World Record, I just sort of like download a training plan off the London Marathon training plan and just execute it, just do what it said. But I've learned all about tempo runs now and speed sessions. So I think that's why I've got faster. So my fastest time now is 3:20, which I'm like amazed at my grand old age. So I think now it's sort of like, making sure that the hard sessions are hard. So the speed ones, I give them all my effort, and then chilling out a bit more on the easy runs. I think I used to run too fast on those. And then the long run, I've learned to now practice marathon pace in those longer runs. I think I still have a mental block with the longest run before the marathon. So that 20 to 22 miler, for some reason, that always hurts and it always goes worse than the actual race. And I don't know why.
I think that's everything. It always did for me. Were they for you, Tomo?
Yeah, no, I was going to say exactly, nod and say very, very often you come away from a long running and your overriding feeling is I've got it done, and you don't worry about the pace and the result. You go, it's done, it's in the bag, and it will come out in a different way come race day. Fingers crossed. But yeah, because
you're carrying the volume of that week into the long run. And you haven't, I mean, I know we've had the experts on and said you're supposed to practice eating the 3.5-4 hours before and do all that, but not everyone has time to practically do that for a long run. So a lot of times we're just kind of shoving stuff in and just trying to get out the door and fit the run into the day. So that's why it almost feels harder when everything's eased down and fresh and you're really ready to go and you're wearing the lighter shoes and you're all ready and excited to do it. Everything feels easier that day. But the mental training and the real hard work is kind of done where people are now in that big block. And then when you come into 3 weeks before the race, can usually start tapering down. I know you've probably had to do it slightly differently because you've got so many to get ready for.
Yeah, that's right. So it's almost like I'll sort of like recover and then I jump into the middle of a plan. So this week is kind of like week 6 of what should have been, I think, 10. So that's how I do it. And because I've run a few now, I trust the training. I think that's another thing. Trust the people who know what they're doing.
That's always trust yourself and trust the training, trust the process. And all the time that you're getting out, that's what we've said over and over. It's kind of the bigger picture of everything coming together. So what drew you to marathon in the first place? Yeah,
again, a great question. I don't feel like a runner in a way, especially not a marathon runner. I feel like a plodder. So when I was at school, I used to be quite sporty and I used to do athletics and I did the 800 metres. But as to a kid, that felt like a long way to me. And it's twice around the track. And I thought that's as far as I could go. So I've never been fast. I've always sort of like been able to not give up. So that was kind of like my secret weapon, I guess, at school. I just wouldn't give up. And then when I got older, I got really out of shape. I didn't exercise at all and I got quite overweight. And I remember seeing one time my little sister doing a race for life, which is a 5K. And I remember thinking, I don't even know how far 5K is that far? And I remember Googling and realising it was 3 miles. And she just blew me away because she'd done that with no training and she did it to raise money for our auntie who was at the time ill with cancer. And this is way before I had cancer myself. And I just remember, I've got goosebumps talking about it now. I just remember thinking, wow, like my little sister's done that for somebody else. And she helped me, I guess, get the impetus and the motivation to start turning my life around. I didn't start running straight away. I started walking, but I just wanted that hopefully to be an inspiring story for anybody who listens to your podcast who maybe thinks that running's too hard or marathons are too hard. I'd say like take it step by step. Even Paula would have like run shorter distances when she first started, and it's okay to take your time and build it up, and that's what happened.
That's so beautiful, yeah, absolutely.
Got as far as the marathon before you were diagnosed?
Yes,
that all been done since?
Yeah, so what happened was when I started to turn my life around and I started to get in shape, Radio 1 were looking for people to run the London Marathon for Heads Together, the charity. And they said, would you like to do it? And I remember feeling like, oh God, this is my chance. This is my chance to do something of meaning. This is my chance to do something good for other people. But I remember being really scared, thinking, I don't know if I can do a marathon, but at least I'll try. And that's when that's why I entered the marathon in 2017. And I think what really struck me was it being a mental health charity and just knowing how I'd struggled with my mental health in the past and what a good thing we could do by talking about it on the radio to young people.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was one of the most powerful headline sponsors that or of charities that the London Marathon's had as the Heads Together year, and a lot of people really kind of turned to it. And then during COVID, I think even more people turned to running then because of the lockdown and just having that time within the day to kill and finding how much better they felt by getting into running. And through your treatment, I'm guessing you weren't able to do much through the strongest bit of the treatment. So were you able to get out and do anything? Did it help in any way?
Yeah, I think I approached cancer and chemo with the marathon mindset. Luckily, I'd done a marathon before I got ill. So I got ill just around the time of COVID, which made my treatment quite hard because my family couldn't visit me. I couldn't see the faces of the people that were treating me, that were helping me, these amazing NHS angels. But in a way, all the training I'd done for that first marathon came into play, and especially the mindset. That I think the marathon is one of the greatest training programs you will ever do. And you will not only get better physically, but mentally and spiritually. And it proves to you that you can do hard things, and it helps you get used to being okay with discomfort. It gets you used to failure. It gets you used to thinking that you can't do it. And then on the day, surprising yourself and knowing you can do it. So I feel like that sort of mindset was perfect for me dealing with chemo and cancer, because when it got really hard, I was like, you've been here before, Adele. It's like that bit when you're running past the Tower of London and it's 20 miles in and you feel like you're going to have to stop, but you kept going. And that's what it felt like to me. And I just kept remembering that.
So many people that will help, I think, and just give them something to hold on, and I can't express it better than you just have done. Then, so fast forward now to all the records that you're setting, and as fast as you are doing, because it is phenomenally quick. I mean, 3 hours 20 without the stoma is phenomenally quick. But with that, it is hugely inspirational. And I know it wasn't all plain sailing through the first one of this, like, it's kind of like 2 legs to this challenge, isn't there? There's the 3 and then the 3. So through that first leg, did you learn those recovery techniques as you were going on? Because you mentioned it's 3 and 5 weeks. That's a really, really fast turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely. So with me having a stoma and then involving flights, I didn't realise how intensive flights would be in terms of me being an ostomate. And so essentially I've got a hole in the front of my body where my small intestine's poking out, and air pressure on planes. Who thought? So every time I go on a plane, my bag blows up like a whoopee cushion. The inside of my body, sort of like the pressure's all over the place. And so that takes it out of me. So flying back from Berlin, which was the first marathon, I was like on cloud 9. I'd just done a 3:20 marathon. And then when I landed, I had a prolapse, which is where my stoma, because of the pressure of the plane and running a marathon, really came out my body. So it's almost like your intestines just come out your front, and it ended up going down my leg. So usually my stoma's about 2 to 3 inches. It ended up really long. And so I had to go to hospital to see if they could get it back in. Thankfully, they could without surgery, or otherwise the challenge would have been over then. But I only had 2 weeks to recover for Chicago. So a week before going to Chicago, they managed to shove the stoma back in to where it should be. And then I was able to get on a flight and hopefully use that week to recover to get ready for Chicago to go again. And luckily I was okay and I managed to do it.
And you ran 2:20 and 3:23.
3:23. Yeah.
Only 3 minutes slower. That's insane.
It's mad, isn't it?
And then, even more impressively, matched that pretty much in New York on a much, much tougher course.
Yeah.
Did you didn't stay in this? Did you stay in the States between the two?
Oh gosh, no. I flew home. But again, that flight, coming back and then going again, and the pressure again, my body's up and down. But it's been a good learning curve, and it's allowed me to sort of like respect my body more. And between those first sets of marathons, even though I'm saying at the moment I am running between Tokyo, Boston and London, the first ones I just trained for Berlin and then didn't run and then just did the marathons. That's what happened. So Chicago and
That's
New
even
York.
more impressive.
Because I had to rest, and I think that's the big lesson I've learned from these, how important rest is and fundamental.
Like it making me think about how you manage fueling in all this, because again, on a marathon day, I don't know if you're using a lot of gels or a thing, but it can be quite a lot on your system in that sense, and with your stoma, how that may affect, and also the recovery from that to then put your body through a load of fueling again in quick succession is quite a lot. So how have you managed all that?
Yeah, that's a great point. Again, a lot of experimentation. I've not got the carb loading right yet because my body can't really digest fiber or carbohydrate, finds it really hard. Essentially, anything I eat or drink goes into my bag at some point. Also, me having an ileostomy, which is a small intestine stoma, I'm always dehydrated because I don't have access to my colon. So I lose about 30% of any hydration that I take into my body.
Wow.
In terms of the carbohydrate and getting my body ready and the glycogen in my muscles, I usually have to drink my calories. I can't really eat them because otherwise I'm susceptible to my bag coming off because I can't digest it. And it gets onto the sort of like sticker on my bag and takes my bag off. So it's like spinning plates. Running a marathon with a stoma is really, really tough. And I've got to just eat and drink enough to get me around. I can't have too much or too little.
And even afterwards, I mean, because you can't just like everybody else when they finishes will just go wherever is handy and just grab whatever they can and just start that refueling again immediately. But you must have to think ahead to that side of it as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I have to make sure I've got access to a toilet, which I know sounds silly, but not every city is as well sort of like attended as others. So in Tokyo, there's toilets everywhere and ostomy toilets, which I just found like heaven. But in like Berlin, for example, the toilets were really far between where we were staying and where the race was. So I can't eat or drink anything straight away or too much because otherwise I'll need to go to the toilet.
So I did notice that in Tokyo, they were about 200 metres up the road though, weren't they? Of the course.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I did look at it and think, it's a bit rough. People are adding on about 400 metres now to go up to that toilet and come back.
Yeah, they had signs everywhere that were like, toilets this way, 500 metres. And you're like, what? I've got to like do another race to get to the toilet. Yeah.
You're adding that on your Garmin. Make sure you record it. If you've got Strava or Garmin or whatever you're using, I'm counting that as extra miles.
Touching on the events, because you've run all of them now except Boston.
Yeah.
They're all very different. Do you have like a favourite amongst there? And what would be your advice and tips and learnings, I guess, takeaways from each one to pass on to any of those listeners who are thinking of expanding from London to other of the majors?
I know I've not done Boston yet, but I feel like London is almost like the best of all of the cities. So I found Berlin to be like beautiful and lots of history. Chicago had so much heart. The people were so warm. Let's think New York is just iconic. You feel like you're in a movie. So you can always think about that. And then Tokyo, I just found it to be not only welcoming and well organized, but I think really good in terms of accessibility. Like I say, there were toilets around everywhere, even in the stations and stuff. And I feel like Boston's going to be like prestigious. It's like the one, isn't it? So I think London in a way is all of those. And luckily I did London first. So I kind of feel like, I'd urge anybody who's listening, if you can, try and experience those majors because they're all brilliant, but in different ways. Mm-hmm. I think my favourite run, though, was the Chicago one, because to be able to do that after a prolapse, I was amazed. I was so proud of like my body and what it did that day.
Yeah, that is. And Chicago's a nice course, isn't it? I kind of like the way with that you seem to be like heading out and back. So you head out, you head back towards it, and you can see the big tower, the Sears Tower in the middle. And then you head out again, come back, and then you head out and come back to the finish. So it kind of like feels like you're always heading in the right direction.
Apologies, Paula. My brain's like you've won Boston, Chicago. Sorry, Paula.
Yeah, way back, 2002.
Yeah, well, yeah. You won Boston. That's end of sentence. Way back.
Boston, Chicago.
There's no but there. You won Chicago. Yeah.
That is insane.
Because it is because you've mentioned all them. Like, Paul, is there? Because you've won London, you've won New York, you won Chicago, 3 and Boston. Did you race competitively Boston?
No, I've never run Boston. Never, because it was always either the Monday after London or the Monday before. So to sign up for Boston, I would have had to say, no, I'm not doing London. And for me, that was a really, really tough decision to ever make as a British person. Kind of London Marathon was what motivated me from the beginning. It's what I'd grown up watching. So it was really hard to make that decision. That's why for me, it's really... Like I like to kind of tell stories with my challenges that I set. And this one is special to me because Boston is where essentially I won the World Junior cross country back in 92. And that was the race that then gave me any belief that I could make anything out of a career as a professional athlete. So I kind of thought, right, I'm going away to university. If I can reach this level and I can consolidate on that while I'm at uni, then I have a chance of making it as a full-time athlete for a few years. And then was able to make a career out of it. So it's fitting for me that I'm going back to Boston. The kids are going to come with me. They're going to see Boston. And it's kind of going to go full circle for me. I mean, it's not going to be anywhere near competitive there, but it's just kind of doing that. And also, I do think that the Boston course is one that when I was fully healthy and not worried about my foot, I would actually have loved to have raced on.
Oh, gosh.
Because I think those hills are what I think it makes it a tougher person's race.
But this is the cool thing. So you both will be getting your 6 stars in Boston.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was getting to.
Together.
So you'll be creating history, and also you're both in similar shape. So who's going to win?
Oh, come on.
I'm just putting it out there.
We could just run together and just confuse everyone.
Yeah. I'm not trying to add a competitive sprinkle in this, but who's going to win in the 6-star challenge?
There are fewer getting in Boston because Tokyo was added latest and it's the hardest to get into, even though the numbers applying for London blow your mind. But that's why they had over 2,500 people made the 6-star finish in Tokyo this year. But then apparently there are going to be, I think it's around about 600 in Boston.
Wow.
So we would go, because if you had to go on and don't you, and log the 6-star thing, I hadn't done it. And someone said to me, after Tokyo, you've got to go in and fill all this in. So I filled it all in and it all sent it off. So it got sent off. And then suddenly my inbox started going ding, 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 ding. And it started coming back with every marathon major that I'd run and like a little certificate printed off with the time. So it's like, did you know that in London in 2003, you ran 2:15:25? I'm like, I knew that.
Yeah. Fairly aware of that one.
But the funniest one is then I get a ding and I look at it and it says, did you know that in Tokyo you've qualified for the and I said this to you, Tom, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
You've qualified to be considered for selection for the World Masters Championships in the marathon.
I still love the fact you were announced in Tokyo as the fastest woman in the field. I still love that fact. That is so cool. You're still, because you.
I didn't.
But in Boston, do you think I haven't seen the start list. Will you be the fastest woman on the start line in Boston again?
I
haven't seen the start list, I'll be honest. There's a chance. So you might get announced again.
That is amazing.
Yeah. I need to check the elite start list.
Be prepared for that. You might have to do a wave to the crowd again.
I think they should do some kind of time factor into that. The fact that it was 22 years ago.
I got to ask as well, because it's funny with it, because they sometimes do like graded percentages. Did you, when they said, in 2003 you ran, did you know you ran 2:15? This is a 99% good. Like, even though it's a world record. Did they? Because you know how they give you like these like percentage grades and stuff. Yeah, that's almost 100%, but we'll just give you 99.9 or something like that.
But when you do yours, Adele, it doesn't rank you in a category. Does it? I mean, it ranks you in the age category, but it doesn't rank you in a category for the stoma. Because I'm guessing, do you have a record to beat, or are you going to be setting the record?
No, I will be setting it, yeah. Which is one of the reasons I started doing it, just because when I looked to see how fast I should be with a stoma, there wasn't any information. So I thought, well, that's really weird that nobody with a stoma has registered any records. So I thought, well, I might as well, because I'm doing it anyway. So that's how it kind of started, really.
And I'm sure you're a massive, massive inspiration to anybody out there with a stoma in terms of like, this is what you can go out and do. But yeah, I'm just surprised they're not saying to you, you are the fastest finisher. We would be remiss if we didn't say, is there a song that helps you to get through it? And is there something that you would like played maybe in London? I know you've done this for everybody else in London Marathon. You sat with us and played those requests. So we can always put one in. We did have Hugh on, so I'm sure he would help to get that blasting out at one of the stations en route.
Yeah, I think because I love music so much, I tried to match the music to the city. So I've got loads of different playlists that are all different styles depending on what music originated in those cities. So I think Boston's good for jazz, good for hip hop and rock as well. So soft rock. So I'll be having an eclectic mix and just sort of like being inspired by Boston artists. That's how I start. So I sort of like find local people from that place and then try and build a playlist around that. So yeah, it's been totally different for each one. But one tip that I've done since the start is get my friends and family to pick songs, and I put the playlist on shuffle, and then when their songs come on, it feels like they're with me on the course.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's really nice.
Music has always been big for me personally with different things and applying things, and I have a terrible memory for songs, like unless it gets brought to the forefront. I don't have like playlists like you say, like I should build up. I got into a habit with my boy of just just calling him a superstar, and just he's 3 and just like, oh, well done, you're such a superstar. And then that song, You're a Superstar, came on, that dancey song.
Oh, yeah.
And I've started playing it to him, going, that's you're a superstar and all that. And it's kind of become our song a little bit. So when we go play, he's like, oh, can you put our song on? And it is nice to apply things, isn't it? And it kind of gets in there. And there's a few others.
Find a new one now for George, though.
This is true, yes. Yeah, no, I will have to. I'll have to think of one, but let it come organically.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put that song on my playlist now because that'll remind me of that story, and that'll be so nice.
Oh.
I bet that comes on Heartbreak Hill as well. I'll think of you. I'll be like,
Yeah. It's going to be a slight change from the jazz you've got. I mean, going into like a dance room kind of 90s song, or noughties, I think it was.
One of the things I've done, because my mum sadly passed away, she knew that I did London and she knew I did the record, but she passed away and didn't know I was taking on the 6, but I feel like she's still with me. And so I like to play a lot of her favourite songs, and one of them is Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. So that will be going on there, just to let you know. So
Very
people
cool.
probably wouldn't realise I have like Meatloaf on there and Billy Joel and George Michael, but they're all the artists that my mum loves.
That's really cool.
That's really, really nice.
It's a very, very powerful tool. That
Just in case anybody listening is also thinking they might be able to maybe run with you for a little bit or see you. Do you know which start you're on in London? Yeah,
I don't. Should we know? Is that something?
I don't
Oh,
think.
good.
I know for Boston they have just said you can find out your number.
Oh my gosh! Thank you. Oh, I'll go and find.
I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
I just did get that email, but I think it will be closer to the actual race where they will tell you when you know which corral you're in, which start you're going from. Then.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know at the moment.
No, I need to check what mine is. Oh, that's easy. I don't have one. Yeah. I'll be sat at home. Yeah. Yeah. I'm 3 away, so I need Boston, Chicago, and Tokyo. I need 3, unfortunately. But yeah.
What's your
He
favourite
did
race?
think-
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, he did think about doing Tokyo this year, didn't you, Tom? But his
a small
son
clash.
George was due just about exactly on the same day.
Yeah, it would have ended up being he was born and I fly the next day, do the race, and then probably end up in a divorce.
Given that would be the second time you.
Yeah, it'd be the second time I've done that to my wife. Yeah, no, I'd probably best not to.
I think something better than a medal, a baby. I think that's better. Yeah.
No, exactly. My favourite one is I struggle to see past London like a lot of people in terms of just the iconicness of it, and I just love the day. But the thing I think with London as well is I've loved it as a runner, and I've loved it as a spectator, and I've loved it as a commentator, and I've loved it sat on the couch at home. Every single way that people can be part of it is great, and this year I'm not running, and I'm really, really looking forward to it because I think there's going to be some iconic results, and just the general buzz that I feel like every year the buzz gets bigger and bigger. And that's not to take away from the other ones. It's just, New York has I love the way you used movie, that kind of movie analogy. I love that. And I think you're absolutely spot on. There's some such iconic things to it. And Berlin will be close because I only ran it once, but I paced a German lass to the Olympics. So that was cool. I didn't do it personally for my own. It was helping her, and she made the Olympics, went to Paris Olympics. So they've all kind of got different representations. But London is pretty cool for all the things I said.
Hugh summed it up, didn't he, when we had him on the podcast? There is nothing more special than London Marathon Day. Just everything about it, the inspiration from every corner, from the people who stand out there from really early on in the morning, all day, cheering people on, handing out water, the volunteers, the runners, the supporters, everybody watching. Yeah, it is just one of the most magic days of the year. And I think we're all very privileged to have had a taste of that. And that is what keeps people coming back. So thank you so much, Adele. Aside from anyone else in the London Marathon, you've inspired massively. So many of us, and it is phenomenal that I'm going to be sharing the 6-star stage with you. I'm really excited about that as well.
I cannot believe that. If I told my younger self that was going to come true in the future, I wouldn't have believed it. That is amazing.
We have to both get around it first. But
yeah, true. Well, thank you so much for having me, guys. And thank you for all you do to inspire others, especially you, Paula. You help me so much more than you realise. So, thank you. Without you, I wouldn't be doing the 6 stars. I know that for a fact.
we are extremely proud to partner with Children with Cancer UK to bring you this special series. And every day, families across the country face the unimaginable reality of childhood cancer, and the impact goes far beyond the diagnosis. So in this special moment this week, we hear from Kirsty Allen, whose son Ben was diagnosed with Burkitt's lymphoma. She shares her family's journey, the challenges they faced, and the vital support that the charity provided. If you're running the London Marathon this year, or if you're looking for a way to make a difference, this is why your support really matters.
Hi, my name is Kirsty Allen, and my son Ben was diagnosed with Burkitt's lymphoma a year ago. Because he was diagnosed with cancer, he had to spend a lot of time in hospital due to the complications he had. He was actually in hospital for 308 days. I had another son at home at the time, and I virtually spent all of my time away from him except for the weekends. Children with Cancer UK are opening up rains retreats very soon in the spring for children and their families who have been through cancer, who are currently going through the journey. And it means a lot, especially I think when your child is in remission. Sometimes that can be forgotten about almost, because you think so much about the treatment, getting into remission, that the aftermath is often not really thought about. And I think it's really nice that Rains Retreat has thought about that, and it's for families to almost recover after they have gone through treatment with their child too. It really means a lot to families who have been through this with their child or are going through this with their child. Good luck. I hope you can raise as much money as you can.
On a personal note, we would like to dedicate this episode of Paula's Marathon Run Club to Eddie O'Gorman, the founder of Children with Cancer UK, who sadly passed on Wednesday the 19th of March 2025. All of our thoughts are with his family. To donate to the charity, please head to childrenwithcancer.org.uk. And that is, I'm afraid, all that we've got time for this week. That is week 12 all wrapped up. We will see you next week for week 13. It is flying by really, really quickly. Please don't forget to email us in your questions, as we've said, to hello@paulasrunpod.com. And Paula's Marathon Run Club is a Viral Tribe Entertainment production. Thank you to them, and we will catch you next time.